Hey everybody, my name is Jason. I'm 53 years old. I have prostate cancer that's metastasized to my spine, and on this channel we talk about it. I got my surgery yesterday. For those following along, I have a slipped disc, three herniated discs, and then a fractured L1 vertebrae. The fractured L1 vertebrae was due to a weakening of the L1 because that's where my prostate cancer metastasized um, to. Yeah, to where my prostate cancer metastasized. I had a big tumor there. It was highly aggressive in that tumor. It was my only metastatic site, but it was a big tumor. Usually, another guy had asked a question like, "Hey, why does my situation seem so much different than his?" And really, my situation is different from a lot of people's, and I don't have a good reason. I know what happened. I don't necessarily know why it happened. My prostate cancer was, um, back in 2017, I had a PSA of 1.59, and they didn't tell me to do anything with that. There was no follow ups. There was no, hey, we should check this in a year to make sure it's not actually rising. And it turns out I probably had cancer back then. Just prostate cancer normally is a slow growing cancer, and you can live with it for a long time without knowing. And I've did a couple of videos talking about, how do you know you have prostate cancer? Well, you kind of don't until after it's been diagnosed through a biopsy, because all the symptoms are things that we rationalize because as men getting older, other things change. So how the strength of your urine stream changes as you get older. Well, the reason it changes as you get older is because your prostate enlarges as you get older. Well, that's also what happens when you have prostate cancer. So how do you know? Well, you don't. Sometimes you can't fully empty your bladder all the time. And it happens. I remember now looking back, oh yeah, I remember that happening a little bit. But the first thing that popped into my head wasn't prostate cancer. You know, I, yeah. Anyway, getting off track. So my early last year in March, I went for a February, I went for a checkup, February or March, and my doctor says, "Hey, you're 52 years old. Let's pull a PSA. Let's do a PSA." Okay, and it came back high. It came back 4.29. Now, when I say high, the range on it is actually 0 to 4, which is ridiculous. Except for some guys have naturally high PSA levels. Like some guys just walk around every day with no cancer with PSAs of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that makes the range tough. Now, normally, it's a bell curve, right? And so you should be less than 1, less than 1.0 if you don't have cancer. And before you've ever had cancer. Once you've had cancer and you have the surgery, of course, you should be less than 0.1. But anyway, the uh, the it's the trend that matters, and I didn't get a trend. So now, fast forward to 2023, and it's 4.29. She says, "Hey, let's put you on some antibiotics and check," and then it comes back low sixes, like 6.1. But that was 6 weeks later, and then the urologist's like, "Well, let's check again, just to be sure, because maybe it'll be going down." And it was we checked 2 weeks later, and it was 6.9, 6.1 to 6.9 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then. He's like, "Well, that seems pretty high. So we're going to schedule you for a biopsy. We're going to do this. We're going to do this." So all that's scheduled for a couple of weeks later. And he says, "We'll just do one more PSA right before the biopsy." Well, it came back at 10. So within a span of a short period of time, my PSA was just shooting up. And I was having some lower back pain. And that lower back pain turns out was the cancer had metastasized to my L1 and had taken off. So the cancer in my prostate was not aggressive. The cancer in my prostate was a Gleason of 4+3, intermediate, whatever they call that. Intermediate concern, intermediate, I can't remember the right word. But when they did the PSMA PET scan and they'd find the uptake values for the prostate and for the spine, my spine tumor was big and it was highly aggressive. The word my doctor used was, I am beyond high risk. So anyway, that's what weakened that was a long story for why my L1 was weakened. So yesterday I went in and we got, they got me all ready. They drugged me up. And so I don't remember a lot. I remember feeling some pain. I remember feeling a lot of pressure. I was kind of in and out. It's what they call conscious sedation. Most of what they gave me was fentanyl, and I forget the other one. And they just kind of kept me semi-conscious through 3 procedures. I was laying face down on my stomach, which is what, for 3 hours? I think it was 3 hours. And that aggravated the slipped disc and the 3 herniated discs. So I walked out in a lot more pain than I walked in. But that L1, I don't feel anything anymore. It wasn't real bad, but it's the pressure, the pain, any semblance of any challenge with that L1 is gone. It's fixed. So what they did is they did an IR, a radio frequency, RF ablation, radio frequency ablation. They put a probe in there, and it uses radio frequency like a microwave to heat it up, and it kills off some of the nerves in that area. And then they put then they go in and they put a little divot right where the fracture is. And they're doing all this while I'm in an x-ray. So it's all guided, it's all done with an x-ray. And they drill a hole and they take a sample from there. So that's where they took the biopsy sample. They drill a hole deep enough to get into the cancer, through the bone and into the cancer. And then they inject plaster. And that plaster fills that up and fills that crack, and then it solidifies it. So it's like teeth on each side of the fracture, and as I move, they grate against each other, and it's painful. So that's gone. That's fixed. Today I am up on mobile. Well, I'm sitting in a recliner, as you can see, but it doesn't hurt as bad. Not bad at all. So this is something that if you have spinal mets, this is a treatment that they can go do. If your spinal mets are big, if they've hit them with radiation, which has further weakened your vertebrae, then later on, if you get a fracture, you can expect to go through this procedure with the kyphoplasty. Overall, hopefully you're not doing it with herniated and slipped discs. If I didn't have that problem on my lower back, this would have been a no, never mind. It would have been, I went in with some discomfort and pain, and I came out healed from the pain and the discomfort, and it would have been perfect. But yeah, that's what I did yesterday. Today, I took yesterday and today off work, and so I am just going to chill. I'm just going to lay here in my chair and play some games on my iPad, read, and do some college stuff. I got a grade finals, and this is the end of the quarter. That's what I'll be doing. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. Love you all.